morning, welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel and this is Stitched Up. Happy Saturday. Well, it's been a few weeks, I think it's been about 3 weeks since I last vlogged, apart from my vlogs with my gorgeous Ruan and Tamlin Northern Soul sisters. So yes, here on this channel I haven't been able to vlog for a little while, and couple of reasons for that. Before you all get excited, no, Bronte's not had her baby yet. We are all on tenterhooks. She's now overdue, and yeah, we're just waiting for the call, but it's not happened yet. So no, it's not that. I haven't been very well, actually. Last weekend I started with a chest infection, and I haven't had a chest infection for years. I don't get them. I don't have any sort of major physical health issues really, so I'm very lucky and very fortunate in that way. But yeah, I haven't had a chest infection since I was a child, so that came out of the blue and knocked me for six really. I couldn't talk. I was planning to vlog last weekend, but I had laryngitis as well, so I could barely talk. Still a little bit croaky now, still a little bit chesty. I've had pleuritic pain as well, but anyway, I'm getting there. Yeah, it's been a bit of a tough week, but I am feeling a lot better than what I was. So I'm back today, and I am back with my February makes vlog. I know we chatted about this in one of my earlier vlogs a couple of months back, that last year I hardly did any makes vlogs, so I'm really excited to be able to do one. And I know it's a little bit late because we're halfway through March already, but I'm back and I'm here today. So yeah, I've missed vlogging and missed seeing you all, so I hope everybody is really well. So first things first, before we get started, I just want to chat about the abomination that is my hair. So yes, I think those of you that have been following me for a while know that I have so many issues with my hair because I'm very fickle. I get bored, and yeah, I had a bit of an issue with my hairdresser back during Vlogmas, because as much as she does my hair so well, she just takes far too long, and I ended up in the hairdressers for hours, didn't I, just before Christmas, and didn't get out of there well about 11 o'clock at night because she just, yeah, well, we're not going to go over that again. But anyway, so I decided to try a different hairdresser, and they still didn't do my hair how I asked for. So after that, I decided I was just going to do it myself, because early last year I was actually dyeing my hair myself before I had my extensions in, and was quite happy with it, to be honest. So I decided I was going to go back to that. But because I had sort of like a balayage, which for those of you that don't know is sort of like a darker root and then it sort of fades into blonder ends, it's a little bit harder to get an even tone when you start dyeing your own hair. So I do understand all about colour theory. I've done loads of research, and as I say, I've dyed my hair before. And basically, to cut a long story short, I had quite a grey root coming through, and I put a dye on it, a box dye. I know all you hairdressers out there will just be screaming at me now for saying that, because you all hate box dyes, and I get it, but when you're doing it yourself, it's easy, isn't it? That's the thing. And I put a box dye on it, and I followed the instructions. I did my roots first because they were grey, and left that on for the full time it said, and then I did the rest of my hair, which obviously will be very porous because it's dyed, and it still came out two-tone. So I ended up putting a toner on it. You could still see the two-tone in it, and left it a couple of weeks just to give my hair a rest. Then decided that I would put some highlights in around my roots, bleach highlights, and then put another toner on top, and hopefully that would just blend it in a little bit. Well, I went a bit too mad with the highlights, to be honest, and it's more or less one colour, isn't it, my roots, and then discovered that I didn't have a toner in stock. So at the minute I've got yellowy orange, whatever you want to call it, and I'm waiting for my toner to come. It should have been here a couple of days ago. I was hoping to have had it done before I filmed, but it's not here yet, guys, so please excuse the fact that I have yellow hair at the minute. I'm just having to go with it, and as soon as my toner's here it will be more ashy again. So yeah, I'm at a bit of a loss with it, but anyway, that's the hair out of the way. Right, let's get on to my makes for February. I've got my gorgeous little diary from Adam Sews here, and I'm just going to go back to the beginning of February where I talked about what I had planned to make, and I think I had quite a few things on the list, to be honest. I was going to make the Gertie Society dress, the Bloomfield by Petite Dressmaker, the Nina Lee Bloomsbury blouse, the Tilly and the Buttons Marnie, and I think that was about it. I had a couple of other plans that I couldn't really talk to you about. I think one of them was pajamas for our Birmingham Soul Sisters trip, which happened a couple of weeks ago, which I did get made. And yeah, I did quite well, actually. The only one out of those that I didn't make was the Bloomfield. It's cut out, but I haven't sewn it up yet. And I was going to do the Jali fleece jacket as well, and I haven't got around to doing that yet either. That still hasn't even been cut out, and the reason for that is because I think I mentioned that I was going to do some sort of drawings of colour blocking the jacket to see which kind of configuration that I liked, and I did do that. I think I have actually thrown the papers away. I'm really sorry, I can't find them at all, but I did do that, and even when I did that, I still couldn't decide which configuration I preferred. If you remember, I'd chosen plain black, plain orange fleece, and then the flower retro fleece. And yeah, I did quite a number of different drawings, and I just couldn't make a decision, to be honest. I wasn't sure which I liked the best. So I sort of put it to one side and got on with other things. And then just time ran away with me, to be honest. So it's still on the to-do pile, I'm afraid. But everything else I got done, and I did make a couple of other projects as well that I'm going to share with you today. So we'll start with what I'm wearing. This wasn't on my plans list for February, but it is a dress that I have made before, and I did want to revisit it. So this is the Chalk and Notch Fringe dress, and I will stand up so you can see it. So excuse the head cut off, but you all know what I look like, and I'm sure you're more interested in seeing the dress at this point. So the fabric is an Atelier Brunette viscose twill that I absolutely adore, and I would never have cut into this fabric if I hadn't have made this pattern before. But as I say, I have made this pattern before a few years ago actually, and really did want to revisit it for spring. So it's a button-up v-neck dress. The bodice is just button up, there's no buttons on the skirt portion. You have darts at the waist at the front here. You've got a short sleeve with a cuff and a button closure, which is functional. And then you have these ties which are sewn into the darts at the front, and then they tie around the back. There is another version of this dress that you can make as well, and if I just come back a little bit, I don't know. So it's got like a dip front and a dip back hem, which is really quite nice and comes to about knee length. So yeah, I really like it. I'm really pleased with this dress. It's going to be lovely for spring. So as I say, I have made this pattern before, but I made it a few years ago, and unfortunately I lengthened the skirt too long, so it hit me at a really odd length. It's a real shame because the fabric that I used was a Dashwood rayon as well, which was beautiful. And yeah, I ended up donating that particular dress. But I've remade it and I do love it. The only issue I have with this is it's not quite hitting me on my natural waist. I did lengthen the bodice by 1 inch, which is my standard bodice measurement for all patterns that I make, that are sort of commercial patterns, indie patterns. That I always tend to add 1 inch, unless I know that those patterns are drafted for my height, because I'm 5'10". However, it's not quite enough for this pattern for me. If I just show you again, my natural waist is here, and where the ties are hitting me well above my natural waist. So I need at least another inch, to be honest. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. And you'll have to excuse, obviously, the fact that I possibly showed you my pasty white milk bottle legs that haven't seen the light of day for the last 6 months. And yeah, I guess you could wear this with tights, but obviously it's a very spring-like fabric, and I tend to like wearing sort of black opaque tights or coloured dark opaque tights, which just wouldn't work with this dress. So it very much is going to be a spring dress when I can slap the fake tan on my legs, I'm afraid. But at the minute, we're not quite there yet. So it's going to probably stay in my wardrobe for now until the weather gets a bit nicer and we want to bare our legs again, which is not yet, shall we say. So I'm really pleased to have made this again. It was a really quick sew, to be honest. It doesn't take long to put this dress together, and I just need to make a further adjustment to the length of the bodice and then it'll probably be pretty perfect. What I did with the pattern as well is I took out the extra that I needed for the skirt, so I've not lengthened the skirt at all. And it's a bit odd, isn't it, that the bodice with an extra inch of length is still not long enough for me, but the skirt as the pattern is designed is the right length for me. So yeah, that's a bit, the proportions are not quite right, but anyway, it's fine. I'm happy with it and it will be lovely. It will get a lot of wear, I think, in spring and summer. Okay, so moving on, I will talk to you about what else I made. So we'll start with the blouses. I have made 3 blouses in February, which I'm really excited to show you. So the first one I'm going to show you is one that wasn't on my plans list, but it is one that has been languishing in my unfinished objects pile for quite some time. And it is this one here, which is the Papercut Patterns Sequins blouse. Now, this fabric, as I'm sure lots of you probably already know, is a gorgeous satin. It's like a viscose satin from Fabric Godmother. And they do this in another 3 colourways, a mustard, a green and a pink. I do have some of the pink in my stash as well, but I bought this when it first came out, probably a couple of years ago now, actually. And I cut this pattern out after seeing the lovely Marie, who is a Stitch Odyssey on Instagram. She made this and I adored it. I think she made it in green and I just loved it so much that I decided to make it myself. And it's a gorgeous wrap front blouse with a huge tie that you can tie in various ways around your waist. I will put some pictures of me wearing this in for you so you can have a look. And I absolutely love it. Now, I've had this cut out, as I say, for about a year, at least a year, and it was one of those things that I desperately wanted to make. And as soon as I cut it out, that feeling just disappeared. And I don't know why that happened or why that happens, but as soon as I'd cut it out, I thought, I don't want to sew this up right now. So I didn't. I put it to one side and there it sat, all forlorn and lost and unloved for quite some time. And it was only when, back in February, it was around Valentine's, wasn't it? And the lovely Ruan and the lovely Andy from So Andy Sews did a little collaboration making the honey blouse together. And Ruan made hers in this fabric. And it just gave me that inspiration to think, do you know what? I've got that pattern cut out. Why don't I just get it sewn up? Which I did. So I am super happy with it. The only issue that I don't like about it, which is I'm sure is just glaring you in the face since you've actually started looking at it, is this floopiness, which is the facing. Now, I'm not a huge fan of facings anyway, but to line this blouse would have been a bit of a nightmare if I'm honest. But I do think this facing is just too narrow. I think it needs to be deeper so that it would lie better. I did clip the curves, but it's still not lying flat. On the hanger, it pokes out, but on me it does lie flat. So yeah, it's not great, this back facing. And if I make this blouse again, which I probably will because I do really like it, I will just deepen the facing so that it sits better and doesn't do this floopiness, which is really, really irritating. But apart from that, I adore this blouse. It fits me really well. And yeah, I'm so glad that I got it sewn up. It was super quick to sew. It's like one of those things that I just don't know why I didn't get it done sooner. I did lengthen the bodice as well by, again, 1 inch, which worked out really well. You just need to make sure if you make this and you are going to lengthen it, that you lengthen the facing piece as well, because that forms part of the length of the bodice at the front, which then goes into the ties. It's sort of really quite important to do that. yeah, it's just a really lovely blouse that I think is pretty gorgeous, and it doesn't look great on the hanger, I admit, but as I'm sure you'll see from the pictures, it looks rather nice on. So I will definitely make it again, but it just needs those few little changes just to make it a little bit more, just a little bit more perfect. So next up is the Bloomsbury blouse by Nina Lee, and this was on my plans and I have made it, and here she is. So this fabric it's a Moroccan crepe fabric by Lady McElroy. It's called Polished Pebbles and it's in this wine colourway. They also do it in a blue, and I had this in my stash. I had a couple of meters of this in my stash and I thought it would make a perfect Bloomsbury blouse. This is the first time I have made this pattern and I really like it. It's not perfect, I don't love it, but I do really like it. So again, with this pattern, you've got a couple of options for the flounce. You can do a deep flounce, which is the one I've done, or you can do a narrow flounce. You've got this gorgeous sort of yoke detail at the front and the back, a straight sleeve that you can add a ruffle to, which I didn't. They've got a ruffle around the neck. Again, you can add that or you can leave that off, and it has a button closure at the back, and I do like it, but as I say, I don't love it. The reason I don't love it is because of the ruffle around the neck. It feels just a little bit too much on me, and I'm sort of trying to figure out whether I'm going to take it off or not. I'm not quite sure yet. I will insert pictures again of me wearing it so you can have a look and see what you think, but yeah, I'm not sold on the ruffle around the neck. It could just be my fabric choice, I don't know, but yeah, it's not killing it for me, guys. The other issue I had as well was the button placement at the back, the button band, should I say, at the back of this blouse. Just move my coffee out of the way. So I used these gorgeous buttons that I just picked up from my local boys. They're just little sort of wine coloured buttons, which I thought went quite well with this. But the problem I had is that the button band is actually really quite narrow, and I just found that really difficult to do buttonholes on. My machine, even though these are interfaced, was still trying to chew up the fabric, and it was a nightmare, I'm going to be honest with you. So I think if I make this again, I would probably deepen the button band. It might be that I just made a complete error and didn't follow the pattern correctly, didn't have my fold lines in the correct place for the button band. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, they ended up quite narrow. I don't know if anybody else has made this, if you found that, or whether that's just me, but it's probably, yeah, it's just, it doesn't work trying to do buttonholes on a really narrow button band on a domestic sewing machine, as good as my sewing machine is. So that was a little bit annoying, because you know, you don't want to fluff up your buttonholes, do you, when you have put all that effort into a really nice blouse. The sleeve length is probably, I think I did add on about 3/4 of an inch, but it's not quite enough. It's just a little bit too short. It's more sort of bracelet length rather than the length I prefer. I added on length to the actual hem as well, again by about an inch, but I probably could do with just a touch more as well. But otherwise, I do like it. I'm pleased I did the deeper flounce. Originally, when I first looked at this pattern, I was going to go for the narrow flounce because I was a bit worried that it would be a bit too clown-like for my liking. However, when I looked at finished blouses on Instagram that actually used the deeper flounce, I really liked it. So yeah, I'm really happy with it, and I think it looks really nice on. I'm just not completely sold on the ruffle around the neck. It's a little bit deep on me, and I think, having spoken to Ruan, because she's made this, her version, the ruffle isn't as deep, so I think I got the placement of the seam line probably just not quite right, and I think if it was a bit narrower, I'd maybe love it a bit more. But anyway, it's, yeah, it does get worn, and there will be more, I'm sure. So the final blouse that I made in February is the Tilly and the Buttons Marnie. Now, we all know that I had a hate-love affair with the Marnie, as in when it came out, I did not like it at all. And then I saw some gorgeous versions and I made it, and then I love it. So I've made my second one, and this is it here. I have worn this loads. I wear both my Marnies loads. This one is slightly different from the other one that I made, and I have used, again, beautiful viscose from Fabric Godmother. This is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I have for this version done a yoke without the undulating pleats in because I didn't think you would see them, and I'm pleased that I made that decision. I put the flounces over the shoulders in this version because it's a viscose, and I thought that would look okay. Didn't put the undulating pleats on the sleeves either for exactly the same reason, because I think this fabric just speaks for itself, and those kind of details are just going to get lost in this kind of busy print. So I used a button from my stash, which is this really lovely sort of faceted dome head button with a shank on for the closure at the back, and yeah, absolutely love it. So I've worn it loads. There's definitely going to be more of these in my wardrobe because it is just such a nice pattern, and I think if you choose the right fabric for the right version, for instance, I would not do flounces in cotton or cotton lawn because it would just be too much for me, for my personal taste. But in the viscose, I think because you get that drapiness, it works really well. I did double face the flounces as well. The pattern does not tell you to do that. The pattern tells you to do one flounce and then narrow hem it, but I don't like how that looks. I much prefer it when it's double faced. So I am happy that I did that, because now, however this moves as I walk and the wind blows it, you can see the right side of the fabric, which I just think works much better. So yeah, super happy that I got my Marnie done, and as I say, it is on constant rotation in my wardrobe. It's one of those tops now that as soon as it's been washed, I'll just throw it back on. I can wear it smart for work with my work trousers, and I'll wear it with jeans as well. So really love it. Next up is my PJs. Now, lots of you will know that Ruan, Tamlin and I organised an amazing weekend down in Birmingham with the lovely Angela, Devon Threadtails and Helen from Stitch Rip Repeat. And we had an amazing weekend. We met up with Adele from Sew for Serenity and Sarah from Sew Sarah Style. We had such a lovely time, and the five of us that were staying together in our Airbnb thought it would be really good fun to make matching PJs for our weekend, and I am going to show you mine. So we all decided to use the same fabric to make the pajama bottoms, which we got from First for Fabrics, and then we were going to make the Jackson tee out of the same fabric but in different colorways from First for Fabrics. So I will show you my version. This is my Jackson tee, which we all made the short sleeve version. I just used this black Stoff jersey, again from First for Fabrics, and this is the size 12, I think it is, that I made. Straightforward t-shirt, got this sewn up in an hour max, I think. I made the cropped version that was lengthened by about an inch as well, so it hits me just sort of between my waistband of my pajamas and my high hip, so it hits in a really nice part, I think. And yeah, simple make. I just wanted black because yeah, I'm a black girl at heart, aren't I? And the trousers that I made are actually the Loungewear pants by Peppermint magazine, which are a free pattern. So I'll put a picture of it here. I made the bottoms lengthened to full length, and the fabric we chose was this gorgeous brushed cotton check from First for Fabrics. It's really lovely. I think you can agree I did amazing pattern matching at the front there and also at the back, and the way I did that was just to cut the legs out on the fold, cut the legs out singularly on this check fabric, so even at the sides everything sort of matches up, as in horizontal alignment. You're never going to get complete matching, because our body's curved, don't they? So at the end of the day, I also decided to, these have pockets in, it's just an elasticated waist, front pockets, and I decided to cut the fabric on the bias to make that little feature of diagonal pockets, which I think looks rather cute. And I finished them off with a little label from So Anonymous, which says Fin on it, as in finished. And I love them, absolutely love them. These are super long. These are about a 33-inch inside leg, so they sort of pull up a little bit on my feet, and I love that because I always have problems getting PJs to, you know, get the right length. They always tend to look a little bit cropped on me, so I'm really super happy with how these turned out. I wear them all the time. I just think they're amazing. I have some of this fabric left, and I'm really tempted to make a shorts version for spring and summer, because I think that will just, you know, give me a really nice sort of PJ outfit that I can wear throughout the year. So there will definitely be more of this pattern. It's super easy to make. There's no separate waistband for these trousers. Basically you fold it over and fold it over again and then insert your elastic. So it's, you know, they are super easy and can be sewn up really quickly. So yes, love those. And we all looked amazing in our PJs. It was just the best. Okay, so quick change there into my next make, and this was me going off on a bit of a tangent in February because I was at the point where I'm sure lots of us were, that I was absolutely sick of the cold, wet winter months. And along with that, I was getting a bit tired of making, you know, the jumpers, the sweaters, the comfies. I wanted spring to come, and thankfully it's on its way. But I decided that I wanted to make a dress for spring, and hopefully the gods would answer my prayers. So I made this one, which is McCalls M7565. I will put a picture of it here. I've had this in my stash for ages. I love a shirt dress. I think they are super flattering. I love wearing them. I feel real sort of girly, but not too girly, if that makes sense. And I just think they're so versatile. And yeah, I do love wearing them in spring and summer. So this fabric, I think I mentioned it in one of my vlogs a couple of weeks ago that I wasn't sure where I got this fabric from. I do know where I got this fabric from. It's from Stitch Fabrics. It is still in stock, so I will link to it down below. It is a cotton, and yeah, I absolutely love it. Let me stand up and I will talk you through it. Right, so this dress is a all-in-one dress, so there is no waist seam. So it's a collar without a collar stand, button up front. It has cuffs on the sleeves, and it's a full button up right to sort of maxi, mid-axi length, and then it's just got a self-tie belt on it. There is a yoke at the back with gathering into the yoke, which I used my new gathering foot for. And the belt that I made for this is not the belt pattern piece that comes in the pattern. I just decided to draft my own basically and make it super long, which I have done, and I'm really happy with it. Now, I don't actually know, wearing it on like this, whether I probably will wear this belt. I might actually wear it with one of my sort of ready to wear belts because it will probably cinch me in a little bit more, and I think I would probably prefer that. There's no pockets in this dress. I think there is a pattern piece for side seam pockets, but I didn't want to put side seam pockets in because I'm not a huge fan of side seam pockets anyway. But it is fabric hungry. It took about 4 meters to make this dress, and I made the size 10 because it has tons of ease in it. And I think I mentioned in it before when I talked about this dress in my, I think it was my Sunday catch-up vlog actually, where I talked about it. I mentioned that it's just a little bit snug under the arms, and I probably just need to alter that when I make it again, because I will make it again because I do love it. It's a really easy shirt dress to make, to be honest. I also mentioned that I think that this top button is just a bit too high for me as well, so I'll probably leave that off next time. I think I prefer, you know, that sort of open neck, particularly for spring and summer. I think it's just going to be more wearable for me, but I do really like it. I was a little bit worried about the placement of these leaves as well, because they are a bit sort of, you know, in a very obvious place, and now I've pointed that out to you, that's all you can see, isn't it? Yeah, I really like it. Really happy with this dress, and I think it's just going to be gorgeous for spring and summer. So last but not least, let me drag my mannequin across and I will show you my last make for February. So I'm sure this is the one that you've all been waiting to see and wondered if I actually made it, but it's a little bit difficult to see because of the lighting. I might just alter the lighting settings when I'm editing this bit so you can see it a little bit better. But this is the Society dress by Gertie. Now, I am going to talk you through it, but I'm not actually going to show you me wearing it because I'm going to do a separate vlog all about this dress with loads of pictures in of me wearing it, because I know some of you had asked if I was going to get dressed up in my wig and everything else, and I've also got a corset to wear over it as well, and I want to get all sort of done up and take nice video footage and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to wait to do that before you see it actually on me, but I knew that you'd want to see it, and yeah, I thought I would show you it on the mannequin. So this is a jersey dress. It's designed for stretch jersey fabrics, and the jersey that I used is this really nice bark effect, quite a medium to heavyweight jersey, I would say, that I got from Dalston Mills, and it was in the sale. So yeah, I sort of dropped on really because I didn't want to spend a huge amount of money on a really sort of expensive jersey for this dress when I'd never made it before. Looking at the pattern, it was going to be very fabric hungry as well, which also worried me a little bit about the expense. And yeah, so I decided that I wanted to look for something fairly inexpensive that I could make a wearable toile out of. Now, as it happened, I vastly overestimated how much fabric I needed for this. I actually used about 4.5 meters. So considering that I'm 5'10" as well, and as I say, is fabric hungry, I don't think that's too bad. So I do have a fair bit of this left over, but it was actually a really quick make. Now, I'll just talk you through the design elements of this dress. You have a bodice that has gathering into the shoulders at the top. You have a sort of midriff panel that comes up to a centre front V here. The centre front has a centre front seam. You've got bust gathering just under the bust just here. This midriff panel is reinforced inside with power mesh as well, and it is double faced. Then you have a skirt that has no gathering around the midriff but gently flares out, and then it has go days in as well to give you that sort of real sort of swishy floaty look. The sleeves are a balloon sleeve with a angled cuff to them, and then if I turn it round, you have this amazing hood on the back, this sort of cowl hood. It is absolutely amazing. So yeah, now you have all in, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 go days altogether. 2 are at the side seams. You've got 2 that are in the back skirt piece and then 2 in the front skirt piece. And I did not lengthen the skirt at all. I kept the skirt pattern pieces as they are. So if you are going to make this dress and you're going to make the full length version as I did, just bear that in mind. You may need to shorten it. And I did lengthen the bodice. I did nothing to the midriff. I just lengthened the actual front bodice and the back bodice pieces to by about 1 inch, just to make sure it fit me in the right place, and it fits me perfectly. I think I made size D. Now, a couple of people had mentioned that this pattern, they'd made this pattern and it came up quite big, but on me actually it fits me fine. So I found that it worked, you know, it works really well. I absolutely adore this hood. This cowl hood is huge and really gives it sort of like a Lord of the Rings elf type vibe to it. It is just such a design, isn't it? And you can only get this if you are one of Gertie's patrons. So if you join her Patreon, you can get this. And I did used to be a patron of Gertie, and then I stopped last year at some point, and then when this was released at Christmas, I rejoined immediately because I just think it's such a showstopper of a dress. I still need to hem it. It's been hung for weeks now. I made this as one of the first things that I made in February, and it's just been hung up waiting for the go days to drop, because they are, you know, parts of the skirt are on the bias, so you do need to let it drop, and I think it's done all the dropping it's going to do now, so it just needs hemming. but it looks incredible on. It really does. I love this dress so much. It was actually incredibly simple to make. The only issue I had is Gertie's instructions are quite succinct, should I say, and the hood instructions with the pattern piece were actually, left me scratching my head a little bit, because I couldn't quite figure out what I was doing and how it sort of went together. But I did finally get there, and yeah, it is absolutely gorgeous. I really love it. So I will be wearing this to the weekend festival that Martin and I are going up to Whitby for at the end of April, and I can't wait to wear it. I'm hoping it's not going to be super hot, because this fabric actually is quite weighty and it's quite warm, because it is polyester, although it feels really nice to wear. It's not like that itchy plasticky feel, if that makes sense. It feels really soft and smooth, so it's really lovely. But yeah, I can't wait to wear this. I think it's going to be amazing. But I am, as I say, I am going to do a separate vlog just showing off the dress with all my makeup on and everything at some point, so you'll be able to see it in its full glory at that point. So that's it. I think I did quite well in February, all things considered. As we are sort of mid-March now, I haven't actually sewn anything yet. As I say, I was busy with the Northern Soul Sisters on our weekend away, and busy with work, and then I've been poorly this week. So it's just not happened at all. I've got weekend to myself, which is really exciting. So I'm planning to get some sewing done this weekend. And yeah, I haven't actually made any firm plans for March, and I'm not actually going to be doing a March plans vlog, because for two reasons. One, we're halfway through already, and the obvious reason is that we're expecting a baby imminently, and so I don't want to commit to anything that those plans will possibly get thrown into chaos dependent on how things go over the next few days. So I'm just sort of sewing what comes to mind at the moment. I am planning to do something for the Sew Frugal challenge run by Ruan and Sam from Frugalissima. I haven't committed to doing a vlog as part of the vlog tour for that this year, obviously because of our imminent arrival, and I didn't want to commit to that and not be able to get that vlog done and put up. But I am going to still probably film a vlog about that, because I'm self-drafting something. That's my plan for Sew Frugal, so that's going to be what I am playing about with today. And I'd also like to take part in the Sew Yellow for Endo as well, because I'm sure in my huge stash I've got some yellow fabric somewhere that I can make something with. So I do sort of loosely have those plans for March, but not really much else. In April, I am going to be taking part in some more challenges as well. I've got a collab coming up with another vlogger, which I'm really excited about. And I'm going to be taking part in the Sew April Blouse challenge as well, which is exciting. And I'm also going to do the Selfless Sew. Looking forward to doing that, because I will be sewing for this newborn baby when it arrives. So I'm going to leave it there, guys, because I think I've gone on and on and on for ages. But I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. It's been really lovely to catch up with you all again, and I will hopefully be back with you really soon with some exciting news. Fingers crossed. Take care. See you soon. Bye.